Welcome to my channel Good Mind Gyan. Today's topic is chemical changes and reaction, ICSE class 9 chapter 2. We will be studying about the chemical reactions, types of chemical changes. Direct combination or synthesis. Direct combination is a reaction in which two elements combine to form a compound. Here you can see that carbon has combined with oxygen to give carbon dioxide. So two elements are combining and a compound is formed. Next condition is carbon monoxide is combining with oxygen. That is, a compound is combining with an element to form a compound, that is carbon dioxide. The third condition is where two compounds are combining to form a new compound. Yes, so carbon dioxide is a compound, water is a compound, and you get H2CO3, which is a new compound. So this is direct combination or synthesis reaction. Direct combination can also occur with nonmetals like sulfur, carbon and phosphorus. Sulfur reacts with oxygen to give sulfur dioxide. Carbon reacts with oxygen to give carbon dioxide. Phosphorus reacts with oxygen to give phosphorus pentoxide. So in all these cases, you can see that nonmetals, sulfur, carbon and phosphorus are reacting with oxygen to give the respective products. Next, direct combination in metals. Metals such as sodium, calcium, magnesium combine with oxygen and form the respective oxides. Sodium combines with oxygen to give sodium oxide. Calcium combines with oxygen to give calcium oxide. Magnesium combines with oxygen to give magnesium oxide. Reaction of acidic oxides. Sulfur dioxide will combine with water and form sulfurous acid, which is H2SO3. Carbon dioxide will react with water to form carbonic acid, which is H2CO3, and P2O5, that is phosphorus pentoxide, will combine with water to form phosphoric acid, which is H3PO4. Reaction of basic oxides. Sodium oxide will react with water to form sodium hydroxide. Calcium oxide will react with water to form calcium hydroxide, and magnesium oxide will react with water to form magnesium hydroxide. So here you can see that the oxides, the metal oxides are combining with water to form the respective hydroxides. We can also prepare salts by direct combination or synthesis. Aluminium will combine with chlorine and form aluminium chloride, which is soluble salt. Iron will combine with chlorine to form iron chloride, which is again a soluble salt. Iron will combine with sulfur to form FeS, iron sulfide, that is insoluble. Zinc will combine with sulfur to form zinc sulfide, which is insoluble, and lead will combine with sulfur to form lead sulfide, which is also insoluble. We also have decomposition reactions. What is a decomposition reaction? A compound will decompose to give two new elements. For example, mercuric oxide will decompose to give mercury and oxygen. So the compound has broken down into two elements, mercury and oxygen. A compound decomposes to give new compound and an element. Here in case of potassium nitrate, you got potassium nitrite and oxygen. So you got one compound and you got one element. So a compound also decomposes to give two new compounds. So that is also possible. So thermal decomposition of oxides is possible. You have the decomposition of hydroxides, carbonates as well as nitrates. Let us see the thermal decomposition of oxides. Now here mercuric oxide HgO will break and give you mercury and oxygen when there is thermal decomposition. What is thermal decomposition? The decomposition which is taking place on heating. You are using some temperature here. Heat energy is used and there is temperature which plays an important role. And then the product or the compound is broken down into simpler substances. That is, here it is breaking down into mercury and oxygen. Next is thermal decomposition of hydroxides, where calcium hydroxide is broken down to calcium oxide in water and ferrous hydroxide is breaking down to Fe2O3 and water. So here you can see decomposition of the hydroxides. Next is thermal decomposition of carbonates. When there is thermal decomposition of carbonates, carbon dioxide gas is evolved. Here you see calcium carbonate is giving calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Copper carbonate is giving copper oxide plus carbon dioxide. HgCO3, that is mercury carbonate, is giving mercury and carbon dioxide along with oxygen. So in all the reactions you will see that carbon dioxide gas is evolved. So decomposition of carbonates, there will be release of carbon dioxide gas. Next we have thermal decomposition of nitrates. In the thermal decomposition of nitrates, potassium nitrate is giving potassium nitrite plus oxygen. Calcium nitrate is giving calcium oxide plus nitrogen dioxide. Then silver nitrate is giving silver plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. Here you can see in case of calcium nitrate and silver nitrate, they are forming calcium oxide and silver here, but nitrogen dioxide and oxygen gas is released in both the reactions. Whereas in the first reaction you have only potassium nitrite and oxygen gas. Now more examples we have. Ammonium dichromate, okay, NH4 twice Cr2O7 is ammonium dichromate, which is a orange colored compound. Okay, this orange colored compound will decompose to give chromium. You're going to get chromium oxide. Okay, so here it is decomposing and you're getting chromic oxide. Okay, chromic oxide, which is a green color residue along with water and nitrogen. So you're getting chromic oxide. Similarly, when you take copper sulfate and you heat it on hydrated substances, you get copper sulfate plus 5H2O, that is 5 water molecules. But when you heat it strongly, you will get copper oxide, sulfur dioxide and oxygen gas. So you can see two gases are evolved, sulfur dioxide and oxygen. Next we go to the thermal dissociation. Now what is thermal dissociation? It is a dissociation in which a substance dissociates into two or more simpler substances on application of heat. Yes, so in thermal dissociation, NH4Cl, that is ammonium chloride, when you heat you will get ammonia and hydrogen chloride. When you cool the same thing, okay, you are going to get ammonium chloride. So heating and cooling both are possible. Whereas in N2O4, okay, when you take N2O4, that is dinitrogen tetroxide, when you heat it at 140 degrees Celsius, you get nitrogen dioxide. When you cool it at 20 degrees Celsius, you will again get back N2O4, that is dinitrogen tetroxide. So thermal dissociation, unlike thermal decomposition, is a reversible reaction. You will be seeing that there is a reversible reaction which is taking place. Next is electrolytic decomposition, a reaction or decomposition reaction which is brought about by the passage of electric current. Here water is acidified. You are adding a few drops of sulfuric acid in the water. You can use a voltameter. In the voltameter, the water is placed in which few drops of sulfuric acid are placed. Why do we place sulfuric acid? Because sulfuric acid allows the passage of electric current in a fast way. Yes, so when the entire circuit is completed, okay, and electric current is passed, the water will get dissociated or it will get broken down into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen will collect at the cathode and oxygen will collect at the anode. So by electric current, electrolytic decomposition is possible. Next is photochemical decomposition, where it occurs in the presence of light. Okay, so in this decomposition, photochemical decomposition of silver salts and hydrogen peroxide, we can see that silver chloride will give silver and chlorine, and hydrogen peroxide will give water and oxygen. Okay, so this is a photochemical decomposition. Now, we also have decomposition reactions in the field of metallurgy. Okay, what is metallurgy? Metallurgy is a study of metals. So, in the field of metallurgy, you require to extract metals. Okay, so in this extraction of metals, like decomposition reaction is an important step. Okay, in the extraction of the metals from its ores. What are ores? Ores are the impure forms which are used to convert the concentrated ore to its oxide. So this process is called as calcination. So what do we do in this process? The concentrated carbonate ore is heated in a limited supply of air at a temperature not sufficient to melt the ore. So the process converts the ore into its oxides, which is easy to reduce. So what is happening here is zinc carbonate is heated, and on heating you get zinc oxide and carbon dioxide gas. Again, FeCO3, that is iron carbonate, is also heated to give iron oxide and carbon dioxide gas. So here ZNO and FeO, both zinc oxide and iron oxide, are reduced, and you get zinc and iron by using reducing agents. Now, which are the reducing agents? Carbon and carbon monoxide are the reducing agents which are used, and by using them we can do this decomposition reaction. Next is the displacement reaction. What is a displacement reaction? Chemical reactions which take place when an element or radical has replaced another element in a compound. Like for example, now zinc plus copper sulfate will give zinc sulfate plus copper. Here zinc has combined with sulfate and copper is displaced. So you got copper which is displaced here. Similarly, in the second reaction, chlorine and potassium bromide, chlorine has combined with potassium to give potassium chloride and bromine is displaced. In the third reaction, magnesium reacts with sulfate to give magnesium sulfate and copper is displaced. In the fourth reaction, aluminium is combining with sulfate to form aluminium sulfate and copper is displaced. And in the fifth one, you have ferrous FeSO4 which is forming and copper is displaced. So these are the displacement reactions where you can see that the ability of an element to displace another is determined by its relative position in the electrochemical series. Next, let us see an active metal and an acid will give a soluble salt plus hydrogen. Okay, so here magnesium is an active metal which is acting with an acid HCl to give magnesium chloride along with hydrogen. Zinc is reacting with sulfuric acid to give zinc sulfate plus hydrogen. Iron is reacting with sulfuric acid to give iron sulfate plus hydrogen. And iron is reacting with hydrochloric acid to give iron chloride plus hydrogen. So here basically an active metal and an acid is reacting to form a soluble salt along with hydrogen gas. Next we come to double decomposition reaction. Double decomposition reaction is a reaction in which there is a precipitate occurring. Okay, there is a precipitation. So both the reactants are decomposed to give new compounds by exchanging their radicals. So reaction between two compounds in aqueous solution state to give two new compounds, one of which is insoluble, is called a precipitate. So both the reactants are decomposed to give two new compounds by exchanging their radicals, and the reaction between the two compounds in the aqueous solution state to give new compounds, one of which is going to be a insoluble precipitate. Here are a few examples in the table where you can see a soluble salt, a soluble salt solution, Here you have a soluble salt and a precipitated insoluble salt. Okay, so for example, calcium chloride plus Na2CO3, that is sodium carbonate, is giving sodium chloride and calcium carbonate, where calcium carbonate is a precipitate. The you can see an arrow which is downwards, which is an indication that it's a precipitate. So all these are precipitates which you can see: zinc carbonate, lead chloride and lead sulfate. So you can see zinc nitrate is combining with sodium carbonate to give sodium nitrate, and zinc carbonate is the precipitate formed. Lead nitrate combining with sodium chloride to give sodium nitrate, where lead chloride is a precipitate, and lead nitrate combining with sodium sulfate to give sodium nitrate and lead sulfate, which is a precipitate. So this is a precipitation taking place, and it is called as preparation of insoluble salts by double decomposition precipitation. Next, let us see the name, color and solubility of the precipitate. Okay, so when these precipitates are formed, they have a specific color, and sometimes they are soluble and sometimes they are insoluble. So when iron sulfate is combining with sodium hydroxide, you get sodium sulfate and iron hydroxide. Okay, in this case iron hydroxide is a dirty green color precipitate which is insoluble. When iron chloride is combining with sodium hydroxide, you get sodium chloride and iron hydroxide, trioxide. So that is FeOH thrice you're going to get. That is again iron hydroxide, which is a reddish brown precipitate. When you get a copper hydroxide, it is a pale blue precipitate which is insoluble. Zinc hydroxide, which is a gelatinous white precipitate which is again soluble, and lead hydroxide, which is a chalky white precipitate which is insoluble. So in this way you get different precipitates, different colors, and the solubility is differing. Sometimes it is soluble, sometimes it is insoluble. Next comes the double decomposition reaction in which you have a neutralization. Now what is neutralization? Neutralization is the combination of acid base. Okay, an acid is combining with a base to form salt and water. Okay, so reaction between two compounds, base and acid, to give two new compounds, salt and water, by interchange of radicals. So here both the reactants are decomposed and to give two new compounds. Okay, radicals are interchanging here. Next, what is the application of neutralization? So as you know that an acid combines with a base to form salt and water, its applications are mentioned here. One is when a sting of a bee or a wasp is acidic in nature and it bites you. Okay, if you apply sodium bicarbonate, which is a basic substance, the effect will be nullified. Okay, so the sting is acidic, and when you apply a base, that is sodium bicarbonate, the effect will be nullified. Second application is heartburn. Okay, you have a heartburn due to acidity in your stomach, which can be relieved by taking an antacid. Okay, antacid here is alkaline in nature, it's a base. So the acid will combine with the base here and the neutralization reaction will take place, and as a result the acidity in the stomach will be neutralized. Okay, you will be free of acidity. Next comes the energy changes. What are energy changes, children? Energy changes in a chemical reaction or in a chemical change are the differences between the chemical energy of the reactants and the products. Okay, you have different types of energy, like stored energy is called as potential energy. It is also called as latent energy. We also called it as chemical energy. Then we have energy in the form of heat, light, electricity. We also have exothermic reaction in which energy is released, endothermic reaction in which energy is absorbed, photochemical reaction in which you require the presence of light, electrochemical reaction is also there where electrical energy is required. So these are all the different energy changes which we are going to see. So What are the conditions for the chemical changes? This is a new topic. Conditions for a chemical changes. Now we know what a chemical change is, okay, or we know what a chemical reaction is. So a chemical reaction or a change between the substances takes place due to the collision of particles. Okay, whenever the particles will collide with each other, a reaction will take place. So for that, they have to come in close contact with one another. So only if they come in close contact with one another, or by altering the conditions, that is supply of energy, which may also be required to initiate a reaction. So what is here? We require close contact, and the other is we require supply of energy. Yes. So let us see each one by one. By close contact, okay, if it is by close contact, close physical contact, then let us take the example of iodine and phosphorus. Iodine and phosphorus will react with each other when they come in contact with each other, and they will react explosively. Okay, similarly, potassium iodide and mercuric chloride also can be ground together. You can grind them together. Then you have examples, close contact in solution. Okay, you can take a sodium carbonate solution and mix it with tartaric acid. Okay, these two solutions can be mixed vigorously and they will react in the solution state. Then again, all the precipitation reactions which are there, they will also take place in the solution state. Next, let us see how we can get by supplying energy. Now, when the reaction is taking place, we have to bring them into close contact and then we have to give them an energy. So, as per the reaction, the energy will differ. Sometimes we have to give heat energy, sometimes light energy, sometimes electricity, pressure, catalyst, or sound energy. So, anything as per the reaction. Okay, so these are the different reactions. Like you have heat energy. Examples are nitrogen reacts with oxygen to give nitric oxide at 3000 degrees Celsius. So you are heating here it at 3000 degrees Celsius, then only the reaction is formed, takes place, and you get nitric oxide. Similarly, when you take Pb3O4, okay, that is lead oxide will give you lead monoxide, okay, and it will give you oxygen. This is another reaction. Then we have the next, that is with the help of light. Oxygen in the presence of ultraviolet will give you ozone, and hydrogen with chlorine will give you hydrogen chloride in the presence of sunlight. Next comes the electricity. Okay, as I already told you that water can be broken down by the decomposition process, electrolytic decomposition. You can do it and you can get hydrogen at cathode and oxygen at anode. So here you require an electric current to be passed. Only then the reaction will take place. Next is the pressure. Nitrogen gas and hydrogen gas, when they come together, you get ammonia. Okay, you are getting ammonia here. Here you are applying a pressure of 200 atmosphere and you are using iron at 450 degrees Celsius. So applying all these conditions, then only the reaction will occur and you will get the production of ammonia gas. Next comes a catalyst. What is a catalyst? A catalyst is a substance which does not take part in a chemical reaction, but it helps the reaction to take place faster or slower. Yeah, means it helps in the rate of the reaction. Okay, maybe fast or it can make the reaction slow. So here, when ammonia is combining with oxygen, you get nitric oxide and hydrogen. Okay, you can take platinum or manganese dioxide, that is MnO2, as a catalyst and you can heat it at 800 degrees Celsius. When you do so, you will get nitric oxide and hydrogen. Yes, so we are using the catalyst in this case for the chemical reaction to take place and you will get the products. Now next is sound energy. Okay, acetylene, the formula is C2H2. When acetylene is taken, okay, sound energy speeds up the reacting molecules, atoms or ions, causing a reaction to occur. So what will you get here? You're going to get carbon and hydrogen. Okay, so this covers the chapter. Okay, we have covered this chapter of class 9 ICSE. So the chapter is covered. I have covered all the chemical changes and reactions. I have given an introduction. I have explained the types of chemical reactions in detail and with examples. I hope you have understood this. If you have any doubts, you can please comment down. I will answer your comments. Please like, share my video and also subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.